guys, I'm Dave. Thanks for checking out Kotaku Bonsai. It's a beautiful day in Hershey, Pennsylvania. There's not a cloud in the clear blue sky. We got a little breeze going that makes it a little chilly, but it is a gorgeous day. I got new glasses. I haven't had a new pair of glasses in 14 years, and I got the ones with transition lenses just in the nick of time for spring and summer here. So if you see these on my face, that's why. I can see a little better now, so thank you very much for asking. But today I'm going to be working on a juniper, and it's a nice tree. I actually got it from a garden center that was half styled already. It's a tree that I love, that it's in my collection, but it's also a pain in the butt because it's top heavy, and any wind or breeze we get, the thing seems to fall right over. So this year I'm definitely going to tie it down to the bench with some zip ties, but it needs a little bit of a TLC and a makeover. So we're going to do some wiring, we're going to do some shaping, and I got some Deadwood to treat with some lime sulfur. So it's a beautiful day. I'm just going to park myself here right next to the bench and just hang out and try to work through this tree and get it back into shape. So I hope you'll sit back and enjoy and come along for the ride. So here is today's project. And this, to me, is the back. I'll spin it around and show you what I feel is the front. This would be looking at the side. And I think this is the best front. And I'll lift these up to show you. So the sun's at a funky angle here. So this is kind of the best angle I think I could do for this today. So it's got these two pieces of Deadwood. And I like that this one comes out in the front and this one angles back. And it's not perfect, but I think that kind of represents the better front. Let's spin it around again. One side. So again, this is the front that I've, have used through the last couple years. But outside of that decision, this tree also has a funky thing where it's got two branches that run right off to the left and up somewhat, which kind of almost gives us like a double apex. If I can get my hand out of the way there, show you. You can see that. Or this angle in here. So honestly, I think these two need to go. I think we're going to do some heavy cuts, which would take this guy off too and leave this as our apex, which we can then of course style into place and work with. But I think that will be our first. It's going to be a big cut. It's going to take, a quarter. It's going to maybe take a quarter of the foliage off. I think it's okay because it's still very early spring. It's not going to affect the tree much. It's going to rebound nicely. Let's see again. We could maybe even get a little Deadwood feature out of it. But yeah, those two, I think, right in here, we're going to take those guys right off. So I've got my tools and wire nearby. I'm going to grab some stuff and then we're going to make some cuts. So I think I'll do the first cut with this set of pruners. Just a rough cut to get down in there. And then we'll use some more specialty bonsai tools, of course, to clean up the cuts and, make it a little easier on the eye. So let's get right in here. We're just going to take these guys right off. There. That went a whole lot better than my Shishigashira. Oh my gosh. If you haven't seen that video, I posted that yesterday. I made a terrible cut and it broke a branch and I was devastated. Take a look if you didn't see that. But this one went a lot better. I'm happy with that. So there it is. Can you hopefully see the two cuts right there? That really opened it up a lot. I like that. That's going to be helpful. I'm kind of going through this video step by step, kind of slowly, kind of for my own sake, just so I can kind of make sure I'm working myself through the process in a mindful way. So my apologies if it's kind of long-winded, but it's more about being thorough. So I'm just going to go in and clean these cuts up a little bit. I'm going to take you guys closer in. I live near an airport, so you'll frequently hear planes taking off and going overhead and stuff. It's just a little regional airport. If any of you ladies or gentlemen are pilots, I suppose you could fly in and meet me. I'm going to probably do this off camera because it'll be tedious, but I'm going to take these two down a little further. And then I think we'll make a little Deadwood feature out of that nub. So I will do that off camera and come back to it. So you can see here that we've got a little Deadwood feature now. From the front here, it's not really all that visible. Maybe when it's bleached and in a different angle of the sun it would be, but I'll just work with it. And I also have this guy. This is a dead branch. Can you see right here? It's tiny, it's pretty thin. But I figure let's strip the bark off of that because it'll be a tiny little feature, but maybe nice nonetheless. And so here's this new little piece of Deadwood. It's tiny. Heck, next time this thing blows off the bench, it might just snap off, but you know, it's something. We'll incorporate that into the design. See, it is kind of a problematic tree. We got these weird, funky angles. There's gonna have to be a lot of bending on this. So next stop is to wire this guy. And I'm gonna wire all the branches and then we're gonna go ahead and bend them and style it. It's always a good rule of thumb, you know, to work from the bottom up. And obviously there's quite a few Deadwood features to the bottom. The foliage Heck, the foliage starts at the top third, so we're gonna have to fill in some of these lower spaces. The tree also, it's tough to show maybe on this angle, the foliage tends to lean to this front half. It's not as heavy on the back half, so we're gonna have to try to balance that best I can. So I'm gonna go ahead and wire it. I'll do most of this off camera, but show you some of the highlights perhaps, and then we'll get back to it. So, moving right along, I've got the main branches wired. It's this black anodized wire that I had sitting around. I made a few cuts, some smaller ones, nothing super consequential, but a few. And now I'm going to get into the secondary and tertiary branches. So get them wired up so we can start shaping. I did some bending of the wires, so the tree probably looks a little different than it did a minute ago. It's starting to take a little bit of a shape. So yeah, we're going to continue on with the wiring process. I'll do that off camera because I'm kind of slow at this, but we'll get you guys right back and we'll see how it's coming along. Microphone check seems to be working. So anyway, I got, pretty much all the branches wired now. I started to do a little bending, but I figured you might want to see some of that. So I'll do a little time lapse. Some of these guys in the back, I guess I didn't get to wire yet. But I like this tree. I think it's got some potential. So again, with wiring and then bending the branches, the idea is to create pads of foliage at different levels in roughly a triangle shape with an apex at the top, of course. And hopefully I don't get copyrighted with this guy playing classic rock in the back. But we'll bend some of these into place and trim off foliage that's pointing in the downward direction so that hopefully, we've got a pretty nice straightish line at the bottom of our pads. And then of course, over the coming seasons, it will fill out and develop more in terms of foliage, and we can talk about ramification and all that stuff. But for now, this is nice, and we'll just kind of get these guys bend it into shape. So here we are. I've bent some into shape, taken some of these ones that point right downwards. I don't want to, pardon me, I don't want to take off too much foliage at the moment. Certainly I want this to start looking pretty, but I don't want to take off so much that it goes into shock or anything like that. But this is a nice tree. It's a beautiful day out here. So here we've got this decision to make. Do we keep this one as we get closer to the apex, right? So we've got the formation of some pads here. And what are we gonna do as we get near to the top? This kind of pokes right out at you. It doesn't really go well to one side or the other. It's what we call an eye-poking branch. Comes right at the viewer. So I think we're gonna take that back. Look at that. It's a nice little haircut. And again, some of these that point straight downwards, we're just gonna get rid of those guys. I'm gonna feed this really well this season, and we should see, lots of new foliage come through. And then later on in the year, we'll revisit this and see if we need to give it another haircut. Like yours truly. And then, of course, some of these ones that stick straight up like crazy, we can get rid of those. Like this guy over here. And moving right along. Again, this is an eye poker. You can see it's at the very top. I'm gonna take that off. There we go. So, I hope this is coming through well on the video here. I don't have a backdrop really yet. I have lots of plans for the channel, projects I'd like to do, but for now, it is what it is. Cindy and I hope to move into a larger property in the coming years where we can develop more of a bonsai garden, a Zen garden. We'll feature that, of course. That's part of the journey. And so I'm gonna cut the camera. I'm gonna do a little contemplation about the apex, and then we'll get back together and I'll show you what we got. Well, while I was playing around with some different aspects of the apex, I think I just kind of bent it into shape. So if you can see that, I'm pretty happy with that. Just a couple random cuts here. Just trying to kind of keep some discrete pads here. That one kind of all droops, but if I took that whole pad off, I'd lose the whole branch. So obviously, we're not shooting for perfection today. We're just shooting for an initial styling. And we're gonna clean out the trunk line a little bit here. Let's take some of these guys out. This is the nice and relaxing part. Digging up trees in, lugging 150-pound trees and pots, that's not relaxing. This is relaxing. By the way, if you haven't seen some of my other videos of my transplanting and uprooting and collecting urban Yamadora. You can check those out. I got a bunch. Probably won't be doing any for a while because we're getting into spring and it's not going to be the real ideal time to go digging trees out. But what do you think of this? I think this is looking pretty nice. I think I'm going to take this off a little bit. See what happens there. Let's just bend that to the back. Sometimes rather than cutting it off, just a little repositioning helps, and then you can keep the foliage. So for what we got today, I think I like this. We've got some distinct pads with space to let the birds fly through in between. We got some great movement. I mean, there's just like movement all over the place. It's got taper from the base to the apex, you know, thicker trunk, and it gets thinner as it goes up. So it's got a lot of great characteristics. So I think that's gonna wrap up the styling part. I'm gonna get out some lime sulfur and do the Deadwood. It's been a couple years, so this has gone gray. Get that out of there. I think I'm gonna take that off. There's the back side. All right, guys, so be kind, don't be brutal in the comments. Tell me what you think. Let me know what I do right, what I do wrong, what do you like, what do you don't like. But that's our project for today. I'm gonna grab the lime sulfur and put that stinky stuff on here and call it a day. All right, guys, so I got the lime sulfur on the Deadwood. And here's the front. We'll say this is the final styling for today. Front, give you a little spin. Not too bad. And coming back around. Again, the foliage tends to be heavier towards the front, which is okay. I mean, in my book, because you should have a little bit of a lean towards the viewer. Of course, I'd like to have a little more foliage to the back, but for right now, this is okay. I like this. All right, so I think maybe last thing I'll do off camera is just add a little bit more substrate to the base here, but that's all. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I got many more things I'll be doing through the spring and summer here, and I wish you all very good luck in your 2023 growing season. Lots of bonsai to come. See you guys in the next one.